welcome everybody, and I'm glad you can join us today. I'd like to take a minute just to introduce Deputy John Vandeburgt from the Dane County Sheriff's Office. Uh, Deputy Vandeburgt works a lot on the Beltline, knows a lot about it, and is going to talk with us today about the new Flexlane that's there, how it works. Then he's going to get into the Freeway Service Team, which is very active, taking care to make sure that the Beltline is safe. Deputy, if you'd give us a little introduction to yourself, how long have you been with the deputy, as a deputy with the Sheriff's Department? What made you decide to join the Sheriff's Department, that kind of thing?
Sure. Yes, again, I'm Deputy John Vandeburgt from the Sheriff's Department here in Madison. I've been with the department for over 18 years. I got into law enforcement as I started as a correctional officer and decided to make the move to law enforcement. I did my time working in the Security Services Division in our jail for approximately 6 years. I moved to patrol out on the east side of our county for over 10. And then I worked Beltline for almost 3, specifically working the Freeway Service Team. And I'm actually on my 3rd week as a traffic enforcement officer now for the Sheriff's Department, specifically out there to make sure our streets stay safe. I'm team leader for the motorcycle unit. So I have those guys here with me today as well. They're training today. So I got a lot going on, but I'm excited to give you a brief overview on our Flexlane, and I'll answer any questions at the end of the presentation that you may have. Okay. Anything else, Tom?
Go ahead and launch into it. I think we're going to have questions coming up, I'm sure. I mean, I saw some snarky questions on our Facebook page. People are wondering, can you get a ticket in the Flexlane?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'll answer all those questions. We'll go through the presentation here quick, but for those of you that are not from the Madison area, our Flexlane is a lane that was installed. It opened in July of 2022. It's an inside median shoulder that we can use during peak travel times. Mike has a brief video he's going to try to share with you to give you an overview, and then I can get into the presentation, but it should answer some basic questions about operation and what you guys are going to see out on the roadway. So Mike, if you can bring that up for us, please, we'll see if it plays for us.
Let me get that here. And the link to the video is also, to the page with that video, is in the chat box. So everyone, please check that out, and then you can read more about it there. Okay, so let me share here real quickly. Share sound. Right, so this is the page you should see, and right at the top it has all kinds of information about this new Flexlane and how it operates. And then we've got a nice little video here that we're going to take a look at, okay?
As traffic volumes continue to rise, Wisconsin DOT is implementing an innovative solution to ease backups and keep traffic moving. The Flexlane uses the inside median shoulder as a part-time travel lane during peak travel times. Signs over the median shoulder will show a green arrow when the Flexlane is open or red X when the lane is closed. The Flexlane is separated from the general travel lanes by a yellow line which can be crossed when the Flexlane is open. Driving in the Flexlane is only permitted when a green arrow is displayed. When that green arrow appears, vehicles can move into the Flexlane when safe to do so. Trucks over 5 tons and vehicles pulling trailers are not allowed in the Flexlane. The Flexlane may close due to an unexpected obstruction, disabled vehicle, or incident. In this video, there is a disabled vehicle ahead with a flat tire. Once an incident is detected by Flexlane operators, the Flexlane may close near the incident to provide room for emergency response vehicles. A series of signs prior to the incident will display yellow and red X's, indicating Flexlane users must merge to the right as the Flexlane is closed. The Flexlane may reopen after the incident, depending on location along the system. A green arrow will be shown if the lane reopens. Advanced warning of the Flexlane end is shown by 2 consecutive yellow X's. Drivers should prepare to merge out of the Flexlane. Drivers must exit the flex lane when the lane end sign is shown. Learn more about Wisconsin's Flex Lane at wisconsindot.gov/flexlane.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. That just gives you a brief overview of what the flex lane actually is. The flex lane is not something that's new. It's new to Wisconsin and the Madison area, but it's actually used across 18 states in our country. I personally have seen them utilized in both Illinois and Colorado. Colorado tends to use them as a toll lane as well. So if you want to be in that lane, you actually have to have an iPass or a toll sensor. That's how they ended up paying for it. But it's very effective through the mountains going through Colorado because it can get people to where they need to go through faster. Like I said, ours opened back in July of 2022 after much consideration. It's a goal to move traffic through Madison, but it's not a long-term plan. We're actually conducting a long-term study on what the long-term prognosis is going to be for the Beltline in the Madison area on that southern loop. For those of you that don't know, our current Beltline area extends from the interstate on the east side of Madison to out to Middleton on the west side of Madison. It's our southern loop. Unfortunately, there isn't a northern loop, and that's what's causing a lot of our congestion in the southern area. And that's why the flex lane was actually put in to help alleviate some of that congestion. Right now, there's approximately, I want to say, 52 signs that help control our flex lane. Our flex lane is actually controlled by the Traffic Management Center in Milwaukee. They are staffed from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. with people that monitor the flex lane here in Madison for us. Our Freeway Service Team, which is the big yellow truck on the Beltline, if you've seen it, we can coordinate directly with the Traffic Management Center to open and close the flex lane as needed based on any emergencies or extenuating circumstances that we may have to open that flex lane. From a law enforcement standpoint, we treat the flex lane as an open lane all the time. Therefore, you can't park in it, you can't have a party in it, you can't barbecue in it. You must move out of the flex lane as quickly and efficiently as possible because we may need that vehicle or that lane of travel at any moment. We don't know because we don't know what's going to happen with our current traffic situation. But like I said, there's 5 huge lighted overhead side signboards that tell you if the flex lane opened or closed. It's also the ones that give you those nice DOT messages on them, buckle up for safety and all that. We have 5 of those on our Beltline. The flex lane is monitored by over 36 traffic cameras that the Traffic Management Center in Milwaukee will monitor, along with 32 traffic monitoring devices, detectors that can actually detect if a car actually stops in the flex lane. And then it'll ping the operator in Milwaukee, and then they can call us and pull up the camera and see what's going on. Very effective to work with them in Milwaukee. They're great at what they do as far as monitoring the flex lane, even though they're in Milwaukee. You think that'd be here in Madison, but it actually works very effectively from Milwaukee, and they monitor not only the Madison area, but all the traffic cameras in the state. So Milwaukee, Madison, Appleton area, Fox Valley, that's what their agency is assigned to do. We coordinate with them. Little background about the flex lane. The flex lane is actually physically engineered to be a foot shorter in width. It is only 10 feet wide, where the other travel lanes are actually 11. So as an aging driver, I would recommend staying out of the flex lane just because of that reason, because it gives you may not sound like a foot is that much more wider, but when you're in heavy traffic, it can be. And at times when you're in the flex lane, you're only approximately 10 inches to 3 feet off the median wall, which takes much more concentration and much more driving potential to make sure that we don't strike that inside wall. So I would recommend, again, if you are an aging driver, that you don't go in the flex lane unless you feel confident that you can do so. And again, and that's the exact same reason why we don't allow trucks over 5 tons in the flex lane because of that width issue. And we don't allow any vehicle pulling a trailer to be in the flex lane because that trailer can swing a little bit and it could catch that inside median wall and then we'd have a problem. So that as well.
Deputy, I just had a question here real quick. What's the logic behind making this? Most people think that this, flex lane is the high speed lane. It's not just the extra lane, it's the high speed lane. And people are flying by there. What's the logic of making that a narrower lane if we know that, the speeders are going to super speed in that?
Super speed, yes. We are working on a concentrated effort to bring that speed reduction down on the Beltline. The Department of Transportation Secretary ordered extra patrols from his state patrol up here over this past year, and you can see them up there a lot. We've executed airplane operations in that flex lane, so we'll put the state patrol airplane up, and we will conduct speed enforcement by air in that area just to bring those speeds back down. We're doing everything we can from a county, state, and city of Madison the standpoint to get those speeders back where they belong. And the posted speed limit on the Beltline, including from Sauk City all the way to the village of Cambridge on Highway 12, is 55 miles an hour. If you're going to operate in the flex lane, I would recommend you operate at the posted limit because that's what it's engineered for. And the engineering, to answer your question, Mike, it was designed because of the bridges. They had to fit 4 lanes of road in there, and they couldn't do that without shrinking the lanes of travel from 12 down to 11 and then adding the shoulder that was there already. So from an engineering standpoint, without replacing all those bridges that we have on the Beltline, we squeezed them in as necessary and added an extra lane. And for those, like I said, I worked the Beltline for 3 years, and there's a lot of naysayers out there on whether it works or not. I can attest to it every day that it does work when it's operated correctly and when our drivers are driving in it correctly. If you're going 80 miles an hour and on your cell phone and you crash, you're not helping the flex lane and relieving congestion. You're causing a problem. And those poor behaving drivers are the drivers that we're targeting for from a law enforcement standpoint. We want to get those drivers back under control and make sure everybody on the roadway stays safe. As far as the flex lane goes, normal operations. So in the morning, 3 days a week with County Highway, we will sweep the flex lane physically by driving it with County Highway. We work closely with our county highway partners because they maintain the flex lane, the pavement, they maintain the message boards through their contractors and so on and so forth. So we have a good working relationship between the sheriff's department and our county highway crew. We go out there with them to help make sure they stay safe while we're picking up debris and large items of safety hazards that may be in the lane. That usually starts at approximately 6:30 in the morning. And we hope to have the westbound flex lane open by 6:45 or 7 o'clock at the latest. We'll then turn around and immediately do the same thing on the eastbound side for the morning commute. And we'll pull all the debris out of that lane as well. And then we'll open eastbound hopefully by 7:15 at the latest. This occurs twice a day again in the afternoon, only it's flipped. So at 1:30 in the afternoon, we'll start opening the eastbound side for exit traffic from downtown. And we'll again, the Freeway Service Team does it by themselves, but they will go and physically drive that lane and clear any debris out that would be a safety hazard to your vehicle. And then they'll notify the Traffic Management Center in Milwaukee when they're done. And then the Traffic Management Center will then open the flex lane eastbound by hopefully by 2 o'clock. Then westbound will open approximately between 2 and 2:30, depending on traffic volume for westbound. But we do the exact same thing again. We physically drive it to make sure you guys aren't out there driving over anything that we shouldn't be driving over. And then we'll open the westbound flex lane. Again, like the video indicated, it's delineated, whether it's opened or closed by a red X, a yellow arrow, or a green arrow. Now, some people always ask, well, what happens if I'm driving and then it closes right away? It won't close right away. It will give you a yellow arrow, indicating that you must move out of the flex lane, and there's a 30-second delay between the red X and the yellow arrow. So if you're in it and you see the yellow arrow, you have at least 30 seconds to get out of that flex lane before it closes. And that's usually occurs, like I said, towards the latter half of the commute. On the PM shift, it happens about 6 p.m. Where the flex lanes will close, and right around 10 o'clock in the morning for the morning commute, those flex lanes will close as well. A lot of people always ask, well, why does it have to close? Why can't it stay open all day long? Like I said earlier, the width restriction is a big thing. We want those travelers to be operating in the wider lanes for safety reasons, as well as we want traffic volume doesn't dictate that the flex lane needs to be open. Our current 3 lanes that we have on the Beltline each way can handle the traffic volume after peak time. It also gives us in law enforcement a left shoulder again if we need it. If you do break down and it's closed, you're much safer than if it's open. So for the peak time, out of peak times, you can still use that. We'll come out there, we'll help you, we'll move you quickly as we can, but it's closed at least, and you don't have live traffic coming at you. It is very dangerous on that inside median wall. As Mike pointed out, we do have some speed violators in Dane County, just like every other county, but we're out there working to get that speed reduction back down. The TMC can track, they can track volume. We have AI software that'll track how many cars are on the Beltline at one time, which dictates and triggers them to either open or close, even if it's out of peak time. Sometimes we do have to open early, like on Fridays or weekend holidays on Thursdays, because people are traveling and going up north. So everybody's leaving Madison and they want to get to their, their destination, so they may leave earlier. So we've been triggered that the artificial intelligence will notify them and they'll call us and we'll just get into position to reopen those flex lanes earlier. Also, as a law enforcement officer, if I have a crash that's blocking 2 or 3 lanes of the regular belt line, I can call the TMC and have that flex lane opened outside of peak hours to make sure that traffic continues moving. And the reason for this is this is a state patrol number, but I believe it comes from for every minute of delay or for every minute a lane is blocked creates a 4-minute backup. And for every 4-minute backup that turns into an hour is $1 million in commerce loss for public transportation or for commerce on the roadway. And that's the main reason why we have a flex lane, to keep people moving at all times and then to keep commerce moving. We want to make sure that our businesses and everybody stays in business and their products are getting to where they want to on time. That partially relates to our freeway service team as well. Our freeway service team's specific goal is to assist citizens and then keep the roadway open as much as possible. We're authorized under state statute to push, pull, drag cars if we need to, if they can't be moved prior to a tow truck getting there. But we can only move them to the shoulder. We can't tow them any further than that. As far as people running out of gas or tires, we have all the equipment to help with that. As far as our freeway service team, and yeah, they're out there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I don't know if has everybody seen the big yellow truck? If they've been on the Beltline, big bright yellow truck. We're super excited. We got 2 brand new ones finally. Over the last 2 years, they were replaced. The old truck that I drove had 315,000 miles on it that we replaced. So we're super excited about these new F-350 Super Duties. They have signboards on the back where we can control traffic with our truck. Our newest truck actually has what we call a lane blade. It's basically a dry snowplow that will articulate forward and capture debris in front of the truck. So I, as an operator, no longer have to stop my truck, get out of the truck, go pick it up in the middle of the belt line. We can actually just kind of plow that off to the shoulder, then get out, grab it, and pick it up. It's much more safer for us as law enforcement and our operators out there as the freeway service team to keep our guys and gals safe who are out there driving. Because I myself have almost been hit getting out of my truck in the middle lane by Stoughton Road trying to pick up a tarp. Tarps aren't worth our lives, so we thought this is our best product that we can utilize right now, and we're going to continue to use it. Hopefully we'll get a second one for the other truck as well. But as far as the freeway service team goes, it's been around since 2001. Like I said, it is a motorist assist program that we originally started through fundraising and donations, which has now developed into the sheriff's office, running 2 trucks full time from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. usually, and they're specifically designated for the Beltline corridor. We extend from the interstate on the east side all the way to Old Sauk Road on the west side, which is our normal operating area. And depending on the severity of what's going on with something outside that area, we'll respond to that as well. Just because we can fix and move vehicles much faster. As our aging drivers, I would always recommend that if you are in an instance on the Beltline where you have a flat tire or you're out of gas or there's some sort of crash, that you just call 911. No one will ever fault you for calling 911 because we need to know the information best and efficiently as possible to help you guys. We want to know your location, and you may not know this, but the Beltline has these blue mile marker signs up and down the Beltline. Those are very important if you want to know where you are. You don't even, it'll say Highway 12 and it'll say the 266.6, and that's exactly where you are. I know exactly where that is. My drivers know exactly where that is. We can come find you much more quicker than if you just say, well, I'm on the west side by Middleton. I could be driving all around a long time looking for you. But if you know exactly where you are, that's huge, because then I can get there to you much more faster and I can help you and I can get you moved back on the road as quickly and efficiently as possible. So that's important to know. That some people don't know that those mile markers are there for that reason, so that people can find out where they are if they don't know what exit they are or what road they're on. It'll tell you right there on those nice little blue signs that are usually on the inside median. As far as our freeway service team, we handle approximately, on average, 400 calls of service a month. And in those calls of service, we probably upwards of 1,000 services are provided. Those services that we provide are tire changes, lane closures, assisting citizens, checking areas for debris, removing debris from the roadway. The list goes on for what we can and cannot do. We maintain, like I said, tire changing equipment, flat tire We carry a leaf blower just to blow debris off the road if we need to. As funny as it sounds, but it's very hard to pick up a lot of glass, but you can blow glass. So that's why we have those leaf blowers. It would sound funny. We have animal catching equipment if a dog gets loose or something on the belt line. It's happened before. We've had to shut down for turtles. So it does happen. The stories I can tell are pretty outstanding when you after you do it for several years and see what actually can go on the belt line. But again, yeah, the Freeway Service Team's been around since 2001. We have 2 full-time operators in those trucks, and then we have a variety of part-timers that fill in when those guys are off or on vacation, because we do run this truck 6 to 6 every day, Monday through Friday, and we are starting to pick up even extra shifts on Saturdays for UW home games, the football games, and then any like county fair or the horse fair downtown where we see a lot of traffic volume come into downtown for those events. The traffic management center likes to have the Flexlane open as well for that. So we're even working weekends on some of those higher volume weekends to help people get to where they want to go and have a good time in Madison.
Deputy, just a second here. Jane asked, if you see debris on the belt line, what should you do? Should you call 911 and tell them, or
Yep.
what should you do?
Yep, that's your best response. If it's a hazard to your vehicle, I would definitely call 911 because you don't want to hit it and you don't want anybody else to hit it. And they will let me know, and I will go out there, or my partner or the Freeway Service Team, or even a regular law enforcement officer who's ever closest will go out there and get that removed as quickly and efficiently as possible, because we don't want crashes to develop. If we can clear that debris prior to somebody hitting it or prior to it becoming a real problem, that's what we want, because we want the road to stay open and we want everybody to get to where they want to on time. We've all been in backups on the belt line. It does happen. As far as that goes, I want everybody to know out there that the Freeway Service Team and the City of Madison Police Department and the Sheriff's Department, no one's working harder to get the road back open than the Freeway Service Team and the Traffic Management Center, especially if there's a closure of the flex lane or a closure, especially during peak traffic time. So we ask that you do yield the right of way to emergency vehicles so they can get there, get the problem fixed, and get the road back open as quickly and efficiently as possible, because that's huge for us. If we can't get there, we can't fix the problem. And if we can't fix the problem, then you're going to be sitting in traffic. That's just going to happen. But yeah, any other questions that you guys might have? I can take a couple minutes here, it looks like, and go through them if you'd like.
Sure. Well, Ellen asked, do the cameras / air surveillance pick up unauthorized use of the flex lane, and are there tickets issued? Do you
Yes.
do you have any help, through cameras and whatnot, tracking vehicles that are constantly abusing the flex lane?
Yes, we do. If we have a bad enough violator, the Traffic Management Center can, if the camera is pointed the right direction and it's good enough video feed, that we can get a camera and we can follow up with those drivers as to their reckless behavior, or if they're wanted in association with another crime, that can happen, where they reported for speeding or almost causing a crash at one part of the belt line, and then they exit, later down by Middleton or something. We know that, and at least we know what area they left in. The TMC is very good about getting us videos of crashes if the cameras can see them, as far as law enforcement investigations go, or law enforcement incidences that occur on the belt line. They can't get everyone, and they won't open it to the public, but if law enforcement does request it and they do have it, they're usually pretty good about getting us that information via video link, so we can see what happened and verify stories and stuff like that. We can't do it for every crash because, like I said, these cameras turn and they spin and they're pointed directions, checking on other things, because they're all manually controlled by the Traffic Management Center. But hopefully, if you're lucky enough, they may have some information that we could use as law enforcement. As far as using the flex lane when it's closed, it is illegal. It is failure to obey a traffic sign or signal. It is writable. I've written it numerous times myself because I don't like people using it. When I worked as a Beltline operator, I treated it as my office. I said, I don't drive into your office when it's closed. You shouldn't drive in my office when it's closed, because it's usually closed for a reason. Like I said, we work close with our county highway partners, and they have to maintain that lane and all that equipment and all those lighted boards. And we usually during the off-peak hours, so right around the lunchtime hour, is when that maintenance starts. So there's going to be crews in there working, and you don't want to hurt anybody by driving in the flex lane when it's closed. Plus, it could be closed because there could be a large muffler or debris in the road, and you don't want to run that over with your car. So you're only going to save yourself a lot of headache with your insurance if you're not operating in the closed flex lane. As far as those speeders and violators that are operating in there, like I said, we do stop them. We do follow up with them. We don't condone reckless driving behavior. If they're in excess to posted limit, there is state statutes for unreasonable and imprudent speed that we can write. It's called an absolute speed law. I've written that one just 2 weeks ago. It does happen for those violators that are going so fast that you can't even get a speed limit reading on them, and you can see them weaving in and out of traffic and all that stuff. But yes, we are up there. We do have unmarked police vehicles that we use. We utilize our police motorcycles up on the Beltline because it's much easier for us to control traffic with our hands and signal to other drivers what we're going to be doing with this vehicle that we're trying to stop and get them over to the right shoulder. I would always recommend that if you are being stopped by law enforcement, that you do pull over to the right shoulder. The flex lane is not a shoulder. Remember that. We do ask that you pull to the right, and there is a state statute that dictates that as far as being stopped by law enforcement for these violations. Yes, and then I believe the other question pertained to the air operations that we run. That's ran through State Patrol. They have a State Patrol airplane that they will put up, and they will radio in the speeders to the lower traffic cars that are down there that will then stop them and cite them because they have a speed reading from the air. So that is an option that we have utilized in the past on at least several occasions throughout the Dane County Beltline corridor.
Mm-hmm. Now, the video that's from these cameras, is that stored somewhere? And could, let's say if you're involved in a crash, could your insurance company get access if there's a dispute about the crash?
I don't have a particular answer to that question. It is owned by the Traffic Management Center in Milwaukee, and they have rules about releasing what they release, just like law enforcement does, and just like any other privately owned camera probably would. They do release it to us when we request it as law enforcement off. I don't know how their open records requests would work for the general public and for auto insurance agencies. I would assume they must fulfill them in some way, shape, or form because that's what most people do. But I just can't speak to a direct answer on that. Sorry.
Okay. Another question. What's the most dangerous area? It says I'm always wary when I'm going east and all the cars / trucks merge from Verona Road onto the Beltline. Yep.
So we do have some higher traffic incident areas. Obviously, on the west side, it is near the Verona corridor. The flex lane was actually supposed to extend to Whitney Way. We're still missing 3 overhead signs that would do that. I don't know if that was a DOT decision or what, but the infrastructure's in to extend the Beltline to Whitney Way, which means you could be in the flex lane sooner before Verona Road, which means you could move left sooner than Verona Road, and then that traffic that's coming up the Verona on-ramp eastbound wouldn't be that big of a problem, but that has not happened yet. I can't speak to why that didn't happen. But yes, Verona Road and the Seminole Highway area westbound is a targeted area just because of the Verona Road exit there for westbound traffic and the stoplight. The stoplight will back up onto the Beltline westbound at Verona. So that's a concern for consideration. And then eastbound, especially in the afternoon, is eastbound at Stoughton Road. That's because the Stoughton Road on-ramp and the flex lane all come to a merge into it basically goes from 5 lanes down to 3 lanes. So we do see some backups there. But the good thing is that with the flex lane in operation, that traffic tends to clear a lot faster, utilizing the interstate system on the eastbound side, where we could see back before the flex lane opened, you'd be backed up between, let's say Southtown Road and John Nolan. It would be really bad. Now we're just seeing a little bit more congestion down by Stoughton Road, but that clears a lot faster because it's so much closer to the interstate than it was back before. So for the naysayers out there, it does work when it does stay open and we can keep it open. But there are some targeted areas that we are aware of just because of the volume in that area. And it usually comes down to traffic volume. One thing I do want to point out, especially in the early morning for aging drivers, is we're getting sun glare now as we get into September and October. Sun glare is when the sun comes up in the morning and you're driving eastbound and the sun is so bright that you can't see anything. So make sure you guys have your shades and your sunglasses for that, because we see a lot of crashes occur at this time of year because they're physically blinded by the sun. They can't see the car stopped in front of them. So just be aware of that for you guys. And then, yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific advice. I mean, I find myself, nodding up and down to try and keep behind the visor, Yeah. And so, yeah, it's pretty tough. Another question says, is the Midvale exit always backed up? Is it better to avoid that area if possible?
During peak travel times, it will be backed up considerably because of the stoplight. It does move quite quickly, though. I mean, within 2 light cycles, it'll probably exchange the whole ramp. So if you're on the ramp, you probably might just have to wait a light cycle or two. It's not like you have to wait forever, because it does handle a lot of volume through those 2, 3, 4 lanes that exit onto Midvale. Northbound is usually less packed than southbound because southbound 151 is usually a lot busier. At least in the PMs I can speak for. I didn't work a whole lot of the day shift hours, but the PM commute was my responsibility, and I can speak for that quite effectively. I heard a rumor that there might be even a long-term plan to address the Verona Road, the new interchange they put in, but it's going to be 20 years from now, but it could be whatever their new plan could be because they just finished this one. So but I would love to see a flyover ramp all the way to like Raymond Road or Williamsburg at least, to keep that traffic off our belt line. And then the traffic you could stack at that light there versus stopping through traffic that needs to go westbound, especially in the PM. But it is busy. To avoid it, a lot of people can't avoid it because we're so gridlocked with Madison with the lakes. There's only basically 3 or 4 ways into Madison. It's either over the Isthmus, through John Nolan, up Park Street, or coming in on University or that Midvale area from the west side. So you have to get in there somehow, and all that traffic is going to end up being either on the north side coming in down East Wash or through the Beltline corridor somehow because we have to go around those lakes.
Another question says, how wide are the new yellow trucks? Do they fit in the flex lane? I'm not sure. Do you mean the service trucks, the deputy service trucks, Janet, or what? I'm not quite sure. How wide are the new yellow trucks?
The new Beltline trucks are just standard Ford F-350s, so they do fit within the parameters.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I did hit my mirror on the median wall one time, so it does happen because I had them extended out further. So I sucked my mirrors in a little bit now, but they do fit. We're out there specifically for the flex lane and to sweep it and to keep it open. So we drive it every day. We drive it lights and sirens when we have to go to crashes and it's closed for whatever reason. But yeah, they're fully marked emergency vehicles with a lot of equipment and a lot of stuff that can help keep the road open.
Mm-hmm. Karen asks, one of our Karens, you mentioned a long-term traffic study. What are some of the options under consideration, and when is the study report due?
Oh. Give me 1 second here, see if I can find you an answer.
I used to think, well, gee, if they just got off there at MM in Verona and headed across, over to Oregon, that would be a great deal. But, that would take up a lot of farmland. And then you would have a belt line from Verona to Oregon. That would be I'm just going to read this. Road engineer.
Yeah, it's yeah. I'm just going to read this right from the DOT website. It's the same link that you have there, but if you click on the PDF, there's a question there that says, what is the long-term strategy for the Madison Beltline? It's important to note that the flex lane is one solution to improving the transportation in the Madison area. A comprehensive Madison Beltline study is underway to examine the long-term solutions. Wisconsin DOT is collaborating with local stakeholders to examine all modes of transportation connected to the Beltline. Among the items being studied are improved transit, pedestrian and bicycle connections, park and ride connections, and new crossings and connections. So that's the official answer from the Wisconsin DOT. It does not mention when that study is going to be done. Unfortunately, I don't have that information for you either.
This might be a question for the transit people, but how about these buses that are running from Verona to to Madison? Are they making any difference, do you think?
I can't answer. That would be a transit question. Unfortunately, I have seen them on I'm assuming they're speaking to the new electric buses, the big ones.
Yeah, the big ones. They just put out some new routes that are running regularly, and I got to thinking, well, geez, that's if there's one driver per car, and you're getting 60 drivers in one of those buses, that might lower, the number.
It could vary. I believe that was one of the overall intended plans for the bus transit system. But the bus transit system we've had in Madison has been around for a very long time, and this was just an upgrade, especially in the East Washington corridor and on the University corridor to get the median bus pickups where it's faster. We just have to make sure that pedestrians are being safe crossing over to that crosswalk to get to the bus pickup. Honestly, with the sheriff's department, I can't speak to that on whether it's effective or not or how effective it is. It's only been in operation, I believe, since this summer. So I don't know if we have any long-term data yet on what that's showing. I know with the electric buses, they have to stay on time pretty regularly because they don't have a lot of leeway to be down because they're electric. And if they don't have enough juice to get back to the station, then then they're not going to make their trip. So I know that they're very good at keeping on track as far as bus times because they need to be. So, but that's the only information I have, unfortunately.
Anyone have questions? Please feel free to unmute yourselves. I'm taking up all the time here with the deputy, but please jump in if you want. Here it says, next question, what's the cost of a ticket if you drive in the flex lane when it's closed?
Depends on the issuing agency. Ours for the Dane County Sheriff's Office is $175.30. It's for failing to obey a traffic sign or signal. The court system delineates the denomination. So like the city of Madison's could be a little cheaper because they go to a municipal court, where ours goes to circuit court, and that our fees are set by the circuit court. So it'd be $175.30.
And I always have questions if no one else does. You know, at Midvale, when traffic is merging onto the Beltline eastbound, there's a long, I mean, the engineers have designed that for a long right lane to merge in and eventually zipper, you know, with the traffic before you get to Todd Drive. But I notice a lot of cars, the minute they get past the barrier, they're jumping to the left, you know, 1, 2, 3 lanes. And that causes a lot of, I mean, are there crashes in that area due to that kind of behavior? And is there anything they could do to try and encourage people to follow the engineer's plan? You know, stay in your lane until you get the dotted marking.
Yes, that is 100% correct. They need to wait in their lane until they can merge safely. It is, as far as from a merging standpoint, it is the responsibility of the driver that is merging into through traffic to do so safely. If they cause a crash because they merged unsafely, they are at fault. So they have to yield the right of way to the flow of traffic when you're on an on-ramp. And if they're not doing that, that is a citable offense. We do see some slowdowns there eastbound, but not too many crashes per se, because it's already slowed down enough because of all that traffic coming up the double ramp for eastbound Verona Road. But with the flex lane opening, we did extend that right lane past Todd Drive all the way to Fish Hatchery Road. And I don't think a lot of people know that, because that used to be the exit lane for Todd Drive. And now you can bypass Todd Drive and continue down to Fish Hatchery Road. So I think that's just more people getting used to that being a new lane that's open all the way down to Fish Hatch now. So
yeah. I have noticed that. And, you know, that would actually, a lot of people are driving down to Fish Hatch. And if they would just stay in that lane, they'd be perfectly fine. There's no need
perfectly fine to get off at Fish Hatch. Yep.
Yeah, no need to get off there, Todd. So
you think after 2 years of it being open, they would have figured that out by now, but yeah.
Maybe we need those big poster boards there over the Beltline, flash it. It's okay to stay in the lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't like that. You know, one question I got to thinking, there was an article from WisDOT the other day about the new markings in some areas on the Beltline where it's white, followed by black, followed by clear space. And they were talking about that being advantageous for automated monitoring, you know, lane staying devices on a car. You know, I thought that those black things were just covering up white lines. I didn't think that they had any purpose.
Mike, I made the same mistake too, but I answered my own question because I had to go to the county highway guy and ask him what they were painting. And I figured, and that's exactly what he said. It's for the, it's highly reflective. So it's going to be at night. That'll reflect that lane later white line, extend that with headlights. And then again, it's for those lane monitoring to have a reflection back on their radar to make sure that when the car knows when you're going to deviate. So that's helping that too. You'll see those on the Beltline, and they're also up on the interstate now too in Dane County in some areas, just to help with those new technology that we have.
Yeah, well, those new technologies are really helpful, but sometimes, you know, they can be a little aggressive in trying to keep you in that line. Have you ever found anyone having a crash because of their car jerking them the wrong direction?
I cannot say I have at this point in my career, but I'm sure it's on the horizon, especially with self-driverless cars and everything else. It could be one of those things where you just show up and there's no one driving. So who
Yeah.
knows? I have not yet personally. As far as our aging drivers go, I just want to touch on one last point here. As far as the Beltline and just stuff in general, DOT has a program that they used to push out years ago. That's steer it or clear it. It's called. If you can steer your car and you're in a crash, please move your car to the right shoulder. That's the you are allowed to move out of the lane of travel. State law actually dictates that if you can do so, you should do so. So just because you're in a crash in the lane of travel does not mean you have to stay there and block it. You can move to the right shoulder and you can do so effectively if you can steer your car. Now, if your car is broken or busted and you can't move it, it happens. But if you can move it and it's a minor crash and you're not injured, please move to the right shoulder as quickly and efficiently as possible. Also, with new reporting online, there are, especially in Dane County, we have self-report cards. You do not need to report your crash to law enforcement. By law, you have to report it to DOT, and you can do that online now with the technology changes that we've seen in the past 5 years. That online reporting is much easier and much faster for you guys to do if you're handy with a computer or a smartphone. You don't have to sit there and wait 40 minutes for law enforcement to get there. You can just exchange information with the other driver if they're cooperative and exchange a phone number, and then you can just report your own crash to DOT, because back in the day before technology, the only way we could do that is law enforcement would report it and then to DOT. But now with reporting and technology changes, you can report it directly to DOT. So it's much faster and much more, gets you off the road safer. You can go do it. You can, especially if you can drive, you can agree with the other driver. Hey, let's go to the Starbucks parking lot and we'll do it there. You do not need to do it in the middle of the Beltline or in the middle of a busy street. You can move to a much safer location to exchange that information.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. Now, if someone's injured in an accident, can it be self-reported?
Normally law enforcement will come out then, because EMS and fire are going as well. So most likely if there's an injury crash, they will take it. Madison is so busy now. The city of Madison Police Department is quite busy. They, if they can, they will, but most of the time, if there's no injuries and no blockage, they won't respond. They'll tell you right over the phone to self-report because it's much faster, because you could end up waiting an hour or so for them to come up because they have so many other issues that they need to deal with that are taking priority at that time. So yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead. Anne, unmute yourself, please, and click off your mute button. Anne, click your mute button off. There you go. One more time. Okay, speak.
As far as switching lanes when people enter the Beltline, there are certain places where you get on that you have to switch lanes as fast as possible, because that lane becomes exit only lane at the next exit. So that's why sometimes it's tricky to get out of that lane as soon as possible, so that you don't have to exit. But I drive on the Beltline between John Nolan Drive and I want to go to Gammon Road. And at 6 a.m., between 6 and 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. And I notice if I'm going 55, every car is passing. They're going really at high speeds. And does anyone monitor the speeding? You know, it's just people are whipping in and out among lanes, and a lot of speeding.
Like I said, yeah. As far as speeding goes, we do our best with what we have. Like I said, the Wisconsin State Patrol is up there a lot. The Dane County Sheriff's is up there a lot with our traffic team and our unmarked cars. The City of Madison Police Department, especially, will sit on the west end out by Gammon Road out there. The hardest part for us is safety for the community, safety for the driver that we're pulling over, and the safety of ourselves. We can't do traffic stops like in Monona on the Yahara Bridge. That would affect traffic. It would be very dangerous. We don't want to put drivers in that type of situation. So a lot of times with speeding, especially, we have to have a good spot to pull them over for the safety of them, the safety of us, and the safety of other drivers. If we have to move them across 4 lanes, we need the cooperation of everybody on the roadway to get them across all 4 lanes of traffic to the right shoulder. So we do our best. But yes, we are aware that the speeds are up. And like I said, that's why the Department of Transportation Secretary is working towards a solution. That's why we're running air operations. So we don't need to be on the Beltline. We can have the airplane up. We're aware of it. We're doing our best.
And I am driving back from Woodman's toward John Nolan Drive at the sun straight in my eyes, like at 7 a.m. now. So I'm glad that
Very
you
good.
mentioned that is a
Yep.
high risk time, and have to be very careful because you
Yes, please
can't
do
see
so.
with the sun straight into your eyes.
No, you cannot. Even me, I know it. So.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we have another question here from Neil. What is the self-reporting website name? Is that on the 511WI website?
Give me 1 second and I will see if I can find it, just to make sure I give it to you correctly. We have self-report index cards that we hand to you actually if you're on scene, if we advise you to self-report if we do end up showing up. That's one thing that the Freeway Service Team will not do. They will not take your crash for you. We're just there to make sure you stay safe, and we have a stack of cards that we can hand out because chances are the city of Madison or the Monona Police Department would be responsible for your crash, and they either can't make it, or if you're just going to exchange information amongst yourselves anyhow, you can. But let me just make sure I have that right info. Mike, you could be getting that over there now if you'd throw that in there. That is the DOT self-report website. The directions are right on there, what information you need. There's even a start now button.
Yeah, I got it.
But that is what you're looking for self-report. When you're self-reporting, I usually advise to exchange driver's license information, insurance information, a phone number, just in case you need to follow up with the individual after you leave the site. And then I recommend taking pictures of all the damage to your vehicle and their vehicle. That way no one can claim there was more damage there before or after you left the scene. You have a digital record of that. Everybody has their fancy phones nowadays, so it's relatively easy to do. Picture the driver's license, picture the insurance card, picture the damage, and then text a phone number. It can go pretty quick.
Yep. And the link is in the chat box. Everyone just click on it and then copy it or cover over it and cover whatever. Should be there. Any other questions? Got our chance with the deputy real quick here. Probably anxious to get into that training with his crew. No questions?
Well, thank you very much for your time. Again, you can always Mike can always reach out to me or Leslie, and we can answer any additional questions you have. I believe Mike's also going to replay this video online, so if you missed something, you can go back and watch it again. But the DOT websites are very effective for any information in regards to the Flexlane. They may have more information on there on data as well. I just haven't perused every option on the DOT website, but they may have some more information out there for you as well. As far as you aging drivers go, again, please be safe out there, and always don't hesitate to call 911 if you are in an incident, okay?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Deputy. I really appreciate you giving us all this information, and thank you for attending, everyone. This was a really nice session this morning.